Discussing all tonight's topics with me are my brilliant panel. Joining me tonight are Sajila Kershi, Susie Kennedy and Nicholas DeSanto. But first, let's get your latest news headlines from Sophia Wensler.
Good evening, I'm Sophia Wensler in the GB newsroom. Your top story this hour, the Israeli military says it's recovered another body today after 3 bodies of 3 Israeli hostages were recovered from Gaza on Friday. It comes as a member of Israel's 3-man war cabinet, Benny Gantz, has threatened to resign from the government if it does not adopt a new plan for the war in Gaza. Israel says it believes 100 hostages are still alive there. Families of hostages have been holding a news conference in Tel Aviv, calling for their return.
The war must be stopped at once, and the hostages must be rescued. War cabinet members, stop the expansion of the Rafah operation and secure a hostage release deal now.
Our family members are being raped in captivity. They are being starved and tortured. Why do you allow Netanyahu to continue sabotaging the hostage release deal negotiations? Why do you remain silent in the face of his actions? Why do you not come out and tell the public, as Gallant has done, how Netanyahu tirelessly takes action to sabotage the hostage release deal?
In other news, thousands of people can now safely drink their tap water again following a parasite outbreak. South West Water has today reduced the boil water notice in the Brixham area following all clear test results. The number of confirmed cases of cryptosporidium in the Brixham area is 46, but the water company has confirmed it is now safe for around 14,500 households in the Alston supply area to use their tap water as normal. But they're still advising around 2,500 properties in Hillhead, upper parts of Brixham and Kingswear to continue to boil their drinking water before consuming it. Meanwhile, Olympian Dame Kelly Holmes has joined protesters today demonstrating about poor water quality. 37 protests took place today, including in Brighton, Falmouth and Edinburgh. Water companies say they're spending more than £14 billion this year to protect waterways in England and Wales, but campaigners have demanded tougher action. And Tyson Fury says boxing fans should expect fireworks when he takes on Alexander Usyk tonight as they finally go head-to-head to become the undisputed world heavyweight boxing champion. Both fighters, undefeated at professional level, had to be separated by security at an eventful weigh-in last night. Fury's final interview before the showdown had so many expletives it's not broadcastable. Around 3,000 British fight fans have travelled to Saudi Arabia for tonight's clash. And for the latest stories, sign up to GB News Alerts by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to the Saturday Night Showdown. Now, we're used to politicians getting away with lying, but a German politician has been prosecuted for telling the truth. Marie-Therese Kaiser is a politician for the AfD, a right-wing German party who've been soaring in the polls as Germany, like many European countries, grapples with the consequences of open borders. She posted on social media, Afghanistan refugees, Hamburg SPD mayor for unbureaucratic admission, welcoming culture for gang rape. It probably made sense in German. She also warned of the risk to women from culturally alien masses. She was convicted of incitement to hatred, and when she appealed against this decision, she lost. She now has a criminal record. Even though she's obviously too hot to go to jail, man, how come Germans get politicians who look like that and we get Ed Miliband? It's just not fair. Miss Kaiser's comments are harsh and probably sounded even harsher in German and with the surname like Kaiser. But she's not wrong. The Hamburg mayor she's referring to was campaigning to bring Afghan men to Germany. And official government figures show that Afghan men are hugely more likely to commit gang rape. Not twice as likely, 10 times as likely. She was telling the truth. The judge even said it was irrelevant for the assessment whether or not incitement to hatred posts referred to actual facts. And it's just one part of a problem that the establishment has tried to cover up, deny and censor. Over 1 million people have moved to Germany each year over the last decade, often from pretty culturally distant places. And when I say culturally distant, I mean violent medieval tribal societies where gays are killed with rocks, children are sold into marriage, and women not only don't have rights, they're seen as fair game for men who feel entitled to do what they want. Since opening the floodgates of mass migration, Germany has experienced a startling rise in sexual violence, most notoriously in the 2015 mass sexual assaults where mobs of immigrant men attacked German women. The authorities tried to cover it up, but the stories leaked out, and even left-wing papers such as The Guardian had to acknowledge the problem and encourage it to be discussed. And it's surely understandable that a woman might have concerns about this. And you'd think that the left-wing political establishment, which is usually so keen to appear feminist and stand in solidarity with women, would listen to her. Obviously, she's not suggesting that all Afghan men commit these crimes. There are 419,000 Afghans living in Germany. Only a tiny proportion were implicated in these crimes. But it's about proportionality. What's even crazier is that since Marie-Therese said this in 2021, the issue has got even worse. Violent crime in Germany is now at its highest level since 2009, and the proportion of suspects that are foreigners has risen by 14.4%. Nearly half of all robbery and theft in Germany is committed by foreigners, and 75% of crime victims are German citizens. It's exactly the sort of problem politicians should be focusing their attention on to fix it, or at least not make the situation worse. The prosecution of Ms. Kaiser for posting facts drew attention around the world. Elon Musk asked, "Are you saying the fine was for repeating accurate government statistics? Was there anything inaccurate in what she said?" And Jordan Peterson said, "Remember when the Venezuelan government made it illegal for physicians to report death by starvation?" Well, I do. And just like Venezuela, European countries are now hiding the social problems that are the inevitable result of allowing a medieval culture into a permissive modern society. Sweden has stopped recording the ethnicity of criminals completely. And according to Tory MP Neil O'Brien, the British government has stopped recording key information about the effects of immigration on Britain's welfare system, its taxes, its crime levels and its prison system. He claims the Office for National Statistics has even stopped recording how many foreign nationals are living in Britain. But hiding a problem doesn't make it go away. It makes it worse. When I worked as a criminal intelligence analyst, we believed that ignoring an overrepresentation of criminals in a demographic group doesn't help that group. In fact, as most criminals victimise people in the same ethnic group as themselves, when the establishment covers up crimes, it hurts the people they pretend that they're protecting. And when crime problems are allowed to fester and grow, and anyone who points them out is persecuted by the authorities, the inevitable backlash will just get bigger and will destroy public trust in the authorities, which we're now seeing as the establishment attempts to silence Ms. Kaiser's party, the AfD. The German government recently won a court battle to keep the AfD under surveillance. AfD politicians have been targeted with sting operations, and laws have been passed to allow their financial donors to be targeted. The government even looked at banning the AfD outright. Hilariously, they say this needs to be done to preserve democracy, because nothing preserves democracy better than banning political parties. You'd think Germany, of all places, might have a bit of awareness as to where that kind of thing can lead. And it's happening in other countries too. Anti-immigration Geert Wilders stormed to victory in the Dutch elections 6 months ago, but has only just been allowed to get agreement from other parties to form a government. He was elected by the people, but the establishment did everything they could to keep him from power. Meanwhile, polls across Europe show that on average, 7 out of 10 Europeans believe that their country takes in too many migrants. Surely a democratic society would listen to the public rather than remove their ability to express themselves at the ballot box. And the truth can never be illegal. If it is, we're back in the world of blasphemy laws, where Galileo was put under arrest and threatened with torture because he revealed the truth that the Earth wasn't the centre of the universe. The Earth goes around the sun. And our left-wing establishment needs to learn that democracy doesn't revolve around them. Voters are at the centre. I am joined tonight by the fantastic comedians Sajila Kershi, Susie Kennedy and Nicholas DeSanto. Now, Nicholas, you're Italian. We're seeing the whole of Europe take a really sort of unprecedented lurch to the right. Well, I guess it's not that unprecedented. I mean, it has happened before.
Not for Italians or for Germans, but it's good news, isn't it? Let's not forget that Giorgia Meloni, who's been called a fascist or a neo-fascist, has been in power, although there's been a lot of, throwing spanners into her wheels by the deep state and the globalist powers. But now in Germany we have AfD or AfD. The establishment in Germany couldn't have done a better publicity spot for them. Now when you see even Elon Musk or Jordan Peterson are tweeting or posting about it. And we know that nowadays the woke lefties have declared war on sciences. Usually it manifests in the field of biology, but no other science, no science more than mathematics or statistics have been under attack, because the statistics can be revealing of the devastating impacts of mass immigration. In Italy, we have a saying, we say, mathematics is not an opinion, matematica non è opinione, which means everybody must bow down to the sheer factuality of the reality.
Yeah.
But apparently for the left, mathematics is just an option or is something relative.
Well, yes, Sajila, I mean, we're seeing raw facts, raw data being passed over because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit, it's an inconvenient truth.
So here's the thing. I'm going to agree with something you said, which is the cursey curse has kind of teamed up again after so long. And you said that covering up crime is wrong. I 100% agree. I don't think you do any good to any community by doing that. But I have to say, in context of what happened here, her tweet was the Afghan refugees, Hamburg, SPD, Mayor... oh, God, I can't obviously read it. I've just copied it out. Basically, she was saying that, welcome to the gang rape, right? So it was kind of like... and the judge ruled it, and I kind of agree with the judge, is that she was deliberately putting an idea that all Afghan men are going to be rapists, and that is problematic. But I agree that you shouldn't shut down a conversation, but at the same time, she didn't do it with any authority. She just tweeted this herself. And by the way, can I just say, Elon Musk, when he likes your tweet or when he questions something, can we not have that as the barometer of like, well, it must be correct? And,
I don't use it as a barometer of correctness, but as publicity.
You
can't deny it's good publicity.
He obviously doesn't like what I say, because I've been hacked and banned from Twitter, so that's unhelpful. But yeah, so I kind of think I agree with what you're saying, but I also think that we should be mindful that what she did say was a little bit problematic. I just think there's some sort of a level playing, like middle ground that kind of would appease those on the left who think that she was like wrong in what she said, which I kind of side with, and also those on the right who say, well, hang on, there is some truth in this, which I also partly agree with.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, because I didn't perceive that as her saying all Afghan refugees are going to commit this crime, and that's obviously a ludicrous prospect. I think it works out to about 1 in 1,000, which is still, I mean, far more than in the general German population. So she's not saying that they're all going to commit these horrific crimes, but she is saying there's an overrepresentation, like a really quite vast and quite marked overrepresentation.
Overrepresentation of migrants in general. Like half the gang rapes, the number 677 gang rapes in 2022, half of the defendants were non-Germans or non-ethnic Germans. So this is just unquestionably factual.
Yeah, but you're not. So are you a British citizen?
I am.
Okay, so you're a British citizen. Before you got British citizenship, you were a non-English person. So if then they said all these half Italian and half
Iranian.
Yeah, Iranian. So I didn't want to get personally, but I'm just trying to same here. So I'm not, I wasn't born here. I've got British citizenship now. But if you've arrived in the country and then these kind of statistics are being flashed around, then of course they're going to go, oh, hold on a minute. Like I belong to a part of. There is a problem, and I think the problem is when you have refugees, they do not come here undamaged. They've got, there is damage done, and damaged people do, awful things, but that isn't to say that all of them are doing that.
That's not really selling the idea to me.
Exactly. If anything, you're raising more red
these people are damaged. It's that's nice.
I'm saying that to say, oh, well, there's a large proportion that do... And gang rapes. Why gang rapes? That's a really strange phrase. It's not even just rape, it's gang rapes.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
crowds of
this is a
men,
very specific
which is really
crime.
horrific.
But I mean, it points to quite a marked cultural difference between the native German population and people coming from Afghanistan. Who, I mean, we've seen with grooming gangs, with other crimes of this nature, that there's a completely different attitude to women, and it's very obvious when you look at Afghanistan, the way Afghanistan is run. The way the Taliban treat people. This is a sort of endemic cultural thing, and while individual Afghans, I mean, can be absolutely fine.
There's a Taliban and extremism and also just ordinary citizens.
But the Taliban run Afghanistan. You can't say that the Taliban are just sprung up from nowhere and are ruling over these peaceful, liberal, tolerant.
There are ordinary citizens who don't agree with the Taliban who escape from the Taliban, and I have many of them, many Afghans, because of my previous job, among my friends. But who does?
Are they gang rapists?
I don't know. I hope not, because otherwise I don't want to.
When you say this thing, they might be insulted.
But
by
that's
that same...
No.
But so what? We shouldn't tackle the issue of gang rape in case somebody gets insulted.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when there's a crime, yes, you should resolve it. Like with the grooming gangs, yeah, resolve that. I think that was handled badly.
Yeah.
But that wasn't down. That wasn't down to the community handling. That was down to our police force.
The community handled it very poorly as well.
Okay, the community. Firstly, yes, I agree. It's men is the problem, and the women don't get a say because they've got a kid, and they actually bore the brunt of what was happening in those communities.
Yeah.
Right? They're not keeping quiet. They just have no voice. They have literally
They could have had voices, just as they have a voice when it comes to Hamas and Palestine.
The ambassador for all these communities, by the way. Am I the spokesperson for the communities?
Can I say something about the distinction between the Taliban and ordinary people? Of course, there's a distinction between the Taliban and the ordinary people. But in this country, and all over Europe, we have the problem of honor killings. We have FGM. Who does that? We have forced marriages.
Yeah,
Isn't it ordinary citizens? It's not the Taliban.
Yeah, no, we do have that, right? That is problematic. But it is a small proportion of that community. It's not like this is not what I recognise. But then, so the people you talk about, they're not in my circles.
Yeah, we're talking about a small proportion. But then, a small proportion of drink drivers get in car crashes. So should we allow people to drink drive? I mean, a small proportion of cousin marriages result in birth defects. So should I be allowed to drink drive to my cousin's house and have sex with her?
That same analogy, it's like saying, well, there was a Yorkshire Ripper, so all of Yorkshire people are more likely to be,
Yeah,
rapists.
that's a good point. I think we need to cordon off Yorkshire.
I'm more worried about the list, because straight away I think we should just do a Dad's Army episode of all these people on Twitter that are going on the list.
What's the list?
Well, they're saying if you wrote a tweet or if you say the truth, you're going to be arrested. So if you say facts, you're going to be arrested. I just feel like it's a Dad's Army episode. Like, don't tell them your name. I'm not on Twitter, and I didn't get thrown off Twitter, but they say that I did. So if you try and tweet me, it says, this person has been banned. And I was like, I wasn't banned. I left. And it feels like an ex-boyfriend. They go, yeah, I dumped her. And you're like, you never dumped me. I've got the But it's, So
it sounds like you're banned. But
I told the truth.
But yeah, well, that's the thing that worries me. If telling the truth, because the truth is usually a defence. And for example, a defamation case, you can say, yeah, but I was telling the truth. And then, the judge will be like, he was telling the truth, and it's thrown out of court. But in this case, it can be a hate crime to tell the truth and to repeat official government statistics, which is ludicrous.
And yet Baby Reindeer says this is a true story. Yeah. Now they're all going, but is it? So, what is the truth, I don't
think we should take Twitter as the truth either. It's like you put an opinion out there and it's up to people to, to do with that opinion.
We didn't take Twitter as the truth. We took the German Office of Statistics as the source of the truth.
She didn't word it well. That is what the judge had an issue with. So in terms of getting deeper into the story, she says that she put a tweet out and the judge deemed that.
So she should be more careful when she's repeating statistics. Okay, well, coming up, we will assess the week's winners and losers and cursed or blessed. This week, Britain's kindest plumber turns out to be a fraud. How asylum seekers helped one man to get rich, and what happened when a portal opened between Dublin and New York. And we'll show you what happened when this driver attempted to cross a bridge.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel. Have government done enough, do you think, to actually help them out?
I think there will be occasions where people have tried to run a venture, whether it be a pub, a restaurant or anything sort of like that, in the hospitality sector, and it hasn't become commercially viable because of costs, because of bad accounting or because of bad business people. That is just a fact of life. That happens in every sector. So there will be pubs that are closing because they've been poorly run. But I do think there will be occasions where people are forced out of the market. So if local councils aren't being able to pass on business rates, for example, maybe central government can do more. It always tries to do more to cut beer duty and things like that to keep pubs going. So I don't think it's necessarily just as plain as what James is saying, is that, you know, bad pubs will just inevitably be falling by the wayside.
The idea that you two gentlemen, you raging capitalists, support the government stepping in to protect pubs seems to be particularly peculiar. If a pub isn't commercially viable, it has to be allowed to fail.
Well, Sadiq Khan, you know, he has a nighttime czar that he pays well over 100 grand.
Yes.
And businesses are going under like you wouldn't believe in London.
She's a real nightmare.
What's your point?
Well, the point is that Labour aren't exactly helping out these businesses, are they? So
I'm saying that pubs should not be protected by the state. I'm all for a pub.
Well, I'm not suggesting that we subsidise pubs.
Well, that has been suggested. That's what James May is railing against. Although I have to say, it's all very well for James May and presumably his very posh gastropub. But if a pub is not fit for purpose, and May makes this point, you know, you've got to have decent, clean loos and a clean pub. And also, realistically, in this day and age, you know, times change, you've got to put on some decent grub as well if you want it to survive. We can't have the government stepping in to save our pubs. And anyway, my understanding over the last 10, 20 years, as a percentage, we haven't lost that many pubs, so they're not going under anytime soon.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
GB News brings you accurate reporting of the day's topical agenda.
When the news breaks, wherever and whenever it's happening,
we'll be there.
This is GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is the nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Weekdays from midday, we bring you the most compelling stories from across the United Kingdom.
And why it matters to you. From your doorstep to our inbox.
That's right, we want to hear from you. Good afternoon, Britain. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Night Showdown. Kirster Blessed is coming up, but first I promised I would show you what happened when this lorry tried to cross a bridge. Oh my God, did you? I mean, that's got to be my worst nightmare.
Well, I drove into a harvester once.
A combine harvester?
Not a combine, an actual restaurant.
Oh, the restaurant?
Yeah, and she was quite cool with it because I didn't even scream. I was like, why is this harvester coming at me? And it wasn't, it was like me going towards it. But that's like my worst nightmare. But what was that guy doing in the middle?
Actually, my worst nightmare is now you driving anywhere.
I don't go to harvesters anymore.
Yeah, because it's been knocked down by you.
It reminds me of the Italian job.
Yeah.
I only told you to blow the bloody doors off. That's so perfect.
Yeah. And they did manage to get her out fine. So she was, even though she was dangling
she was the gold.
Over the river, yeah, she was the gold. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. It's now time to go through the winners and losers of the week. Now, this guy was supposed to be Britain's kindest plumber. James Anderson set up DEFR, which stands for Disabled and Elderly Plumbing and Heating Emergency Response. In 2017, he posted heartwarming stories on social media of him helping old and needy people with their plumbing needs. And he also helped them pay their bills and buy food. What a lovely guy. People donated millions to help him in his quest to help others. Well, he was caught by a BBC investigation which revealed that he used vulnerable people's photos without consent and spent, that's him, that's not one of the vulnerable people, by the way, and spent company cash on a house and a car. Mr. Anderson prevented one elderly woman from killing herself, the firm claimed. In fact, she had died years earlier. He denied some of the BBC's allegations, but admitted, "I've made mistakes." Haven't we all? That's why pencils have erasers. Among the donors were reportedly such celebrities as the singer Lily Allen, Emmerdale actress Samantha Giles, and actor Hugh Grant, who gave him £75,000. Now, Susie, I mean, do you think charities are sort of ripe for this kind of abuse? We're always hearing stories of charity funds being misused.
Do you know, it's like straight out of Little Britain, isn't it? You know, the one where they bring the son in to visit the kid that's dying and they just really want to meet the celebrity. So I think that the problem with charity is it's so tempting. I mean, if Hugh Grant sent me 75 grand...
Yeah. And you know you're supposed to spend it on needy people, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have a burger.
You know, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I raise a lot of money for charity, not being a big head. I'm not like this guy. I genuinely do.
Yeah.
And I'm not watching. Handing it over is really hard when you've got bills to pay. You know, and it's like I've just got like £1,000 in cash. I'm just like, oh, there you go. I feel like the girl from Ghost. You remember when she's like, hand it over to me, and she's like, oh my God, amazing. But yeah, what he's done is like, it's disgusting. It's terrible. I know it's hard. It's tempting, but. Come on now, really?
Yeah.
Well, it puts people off giving. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It puts people off giving.
I'm not going to give to you. You can give to me. I give it over. I give it grudgingly, but I give it over.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I mean, watching things like the Weakest Link charity special, I've seen comedians on that, and I know that they're 40 grand in debt, and I'm like, I bet they wish they could just take that money. They probably need it more than the charity.
Well, I want to say this is the biggest hit the professionalism of plumbers has taken ever since the porn industry made them a staple of porn movies. But to be fair to him, he has apologized, and he has said that the house he bought it in the charity's name, and he's renting it out to use it for food drives. And we don't have any certainty that he was really using money for his own personal gain. We know that he used or misused pictures of people who were deceased as people I'm helping them. So he was not honest in his...
Well, I trust the BBC implicitly. And,
yeah, but can I just say, I love when there's something naughty, like something happens like this, and they dig out all the dirt. Like, he was a hero. I remember when they made him a hero, that story came out, and all the dirt comes out. And one of the things, it's like during Brexit, he kind of showed a golly dolly. Golly, I can't say the second word apparently. W word. Anyway, golly dolly, which obviously was on Robinson's marmalade. By the way, other marmalades are not available that use the golly dolly, because only that one did. But I should have named and changed them there. But I love that they sort of say, oh, he's not only just ripping off pensioners, he's also a bit racist as well. And they dig out all the dirt. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but I think. Do you know what? I think overall he did more good than harm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Anyway, a portal was opened between Dublin and New York. Members of the public in Dublin could walk up to the screen and see a live stream of people in New York, and vice versa. The artist behind the art installation, Benedictus Gillis, I think they're Lithuanian, said portals are an invitation to meet people above borders and differences and to experience our world as it really is, united and one. Well, that high-minded ideal didn't really work out. This portal showed how the world really is, all right. Turns out the world is full of people who want to make sick jokes and get attention. One woman flashed her breasts, another person tried to climb through the portal. I think the drugs are quite good in Dublin. Maybe they just rented Stargate on DVD, and another cheeky Dubliner held up a picture of the Twin Towers. The artist has appealed for family-friendly behaviour from visitors, but the portal has been shut down. I think we've got a video of, we've got a clip of the portal to show. Oh my God. That's exactly
to say the least.
That's exactly what my mates would do, but it doesn't look good, does it?
The guy maybe had his heart in the right place, but this is it was only a matter of time before people got bored, whether, showing boobs or showing the Twin Towers. But if he had done this maybe 10 years ago before Zoom and FaceTiming and OnlyFans and all that, but right now, technologically, it's not a big deal to see simultaneously what's going on the other side of the world, because you can talk to your friends on your phone.
You can do it for free on WhatsApp. It's amazing.
So people at some point got just bored and started doing these questionable gestures.
Yeah, speaking of questionable gestures, let's have another clip from the Dublin portal. I think that was the woman who was trying to climb through the portal. I'm not totally sure. They set it up. This is one of the things about it. They set it up on O'Connell Street in Dublin and Fifth Avenue in New York. Now, O'Connell Street in Dublin is quite a rough street, and Fifth Avenue in Dublin is like the nicest street. So I can kind of, they've done a bit of a mismatch. They're asking for trouble there. They should have set both portals up on posh streets.
Do you know what, though? Do you remember you used to think, like, what's it going to be like in 2024? That's disappointing, isn't it? Just a screen. Well, I remember this back in New York when I was in New York years ago, and there was you could wave at people in another country in real time, because I waved at my friends, and you had dial-up internet. So, like you say, it's not a big deal. They've called it a portal, but really, it's just a laptop,
we were promised
really. It's just FaceTime.
Jetpacks and flying cars by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and transporters. Why can't we transport ourselves into the studio?
Yeah, well, somebody did try to transport themselves through the portal.
Through the portal?
Yeah,
well, I'd have misused it. I would have had the Twin Towers boobies.
But imagine how deadly it would be.
Yeah,
if people
I
were
would have
doing
done that.
just with a laptop. Can you imagine how deadly if we did have, like, space jackets and could fly in the air?
Yeah.
You can't even look at a screen without showing boobs.
Yeah.
And showing, like, I'm glad that we can't fly on our own, because I just don't even want to know what we can't even get over a bridge in one piece.
Are you scared they'll be flying?
I like the fact that you can currently only go into a harvester horizontally. I don't want you going at it from above as well.
Front parking, that is.
Well, now the Sunday Times Rich List has been announced, and there's a new entry for anyone who's annoyed that our government have been spending so much of our money on housing illegal immigrants. It's up to £8.3 million a day, apparently. Well, rest assured that this guy is doing very well from it. Graham King, whose firm is paid £3.5 million a day by the government to transport and accommodate cross-channel migrants and other new arrivals in the UK, is now on the Sunday Times Rich List with a net worth of £750 million. So that's good for him. It's not so good for the taxpayer. And the most generous people on the rich list are Sir Elton John and Sir Paul Marshall, the man without whom GB News wouldn't exist. Sir Paul Marshall donated £145 million in the last year, including £50 million to the London School of Economics, a seven-figure sum to his local church in Knightsbridge, and money to Tiny Tickers charity, which raises funds for babies with congenital heart disease. So that's nice. But Susie, what do you make of this guy getting rich from providing accommodation to asylum seekers? I know quite a few people are angry about it.
Well, they've got to live somewhere, right? So I don't, it's not like, don't give them houses to... I'm more, because I've read this article, I'm more excited about Ewan Blair, because I sung to Ewan Blair.
And he's on the rich list as well.
He's on the rich... It's the 33rd richest guy in the country.
And he's Tony Blair's son.
He's Tony Blair's son, and I sung to him when he was 18. He was legal, and I bounced on his knee. and now he's got £312 million. So if you're not watching this, Ewan...
Susie, you'd be nothing without you, babes. Nothing.
I know, I made him a man.
Yeah. You're willing to go back and bounce on that knee again?
I'm willing to go back and bounce on your yacht.
And he's actually richer than his dad now, which is
incredible. But I think his dad has made him rich, if that makes sense. It does help when your name's Blair.
Yeah, and political dynasties do tend to do quite well if...
Yeah, so number 5, I noticed, was James Dyson and family, and then 20 million above. And there was a time where I used to see the Dyson Hoover like the equivalent of a Ferrari. That was the dream, like my career in comedy. Yeah. If I can earn enough to get a Dyson, and I got a Dyson, and now I've got a Sharp. They're much better.
Are Sharp's better than Dyson?
Sharp's better than...
Oh my God. I disagree, but I don't want to die on this hill. I want to talk about illegal immigration and mass immigration, which is big business.
Yeah.
And of course, people have rightly become indignant. I feel a bit guilty myself because I used to be an interpreter, so I was in a minor measure part of the industry.
So you're making money from it as well?
Yeah, not to the tune of Graham King, but it was in my defense. I had a difficult job because I had to keep a straight face when the Home Office would ask the asylum seeker, so you have converted to Christianity, right? And the Iranian asylum seeker would say, yes, I swear to the Holy Quran that I'm not a Christian.
Was that Graham King just there?
That was him just there.
He's amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you want to bounce on his knee as well. Anyway, next on the Saturday Night Showdown, it's time for Culture Corner, where I'll be discussing Eddie Izzard, Baby Reindeer and Eurovision, amongst other things. Plus, I'll show you what happened when these chaps took decorating for Christmas into their own hands.
Don't fall. Thank you.
Hello,
welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Into Sunday, we'll see showers easing, but it's going to be a murky start before plenty of warm sunshine. So higher pressure situated out towards the west, low pressure further towards the east, and in between, not too much going on, a lot of light winds around. So the showers that we've seen today across Wales and parts of the southwest will generally fade, especially across Scotland as well. But elsewhere, plenty of dry weather, clear spells, but we will see low cloud returning for parts of Scotland and the southeast of England. But otherwise, temperatures holding up at around 10 or 11 degrees in the towns and cities. So to start on Sunday, it's going to be a murky start for some of us with low cloud, mist and fog, especially for parts of the southeast of England and East Anglia. Further towards the west, though, plenty of bright skies to start the day, and that transferring across parts of Wales and the north of England. But across Scotland, especially further east you go, a lot of cloud to start the day, with low cloud lingering across those coastal regions. And further towards the north, cloud thick enough for some patchy rain and drizzle. So throughout the rest of Sunday, any low cloud, mist and fog should generally lift and break away to leave plenty of sunshine on offer for most of us. It will stay rather cloudy across parts of Scotland, and here we could see a few showers, and especially across that northeastern coast, once again feeling cool here with low cloud. But in the sunshine, temperatures recovering nicely up to 24, possibly 25 degrees. Monday's a similar picture to start with. We'll see plenty of low cloud, mist and fog around, but once again that should break away, leaving plenty of sunshine, a dry day on offer for most of us. We'll see some showers developing, but as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, turning more unsettled with showers or perhaps even some longer spells of rain.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Join me, Neil Oliver, every Sunday night at 6 p.m. on GB News. And if an hour is not nearly enough for you, go to gbnews.com for special extended episodes online every Friday at 9 p.m, where we can truly get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on. GB News, Britain's news channel.
No, that's a good
Welcome back to the Saturday Night Showdown. Culture Corner is coming up, but first I promised I would show you what happened when these guys tried to bring some festive cheer.
I hear it cracking out.
There's nothing funnier than somebody falling over, is there?
That never gets boring, does it?
Somebody and the Christmas tree falling over.
Yeah. Well, something that might be funnier is comedian, the gender-fluid comedian and actor Eddie Izzard, who said he won't play any straight female roles now, as it would be seen as taking a role from someone else. Which is a shame, because he'd make an amazing Pat Butcher. In an interview with The Telegraph, Izzard said that he would happily play trans or straight male roles, but not a straight female, as there's too much politics around that at the moment. Yeah, I mean, also, you don't look like one. I mean, Susie, do you think he's making some sort of noble statement? I shall not take roles from women. And it's like, yeah, but you look like me.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm also a trans woman.
He's also called Susie.
Is he?
So maybe I'm impersonating Eddie Izzard.
Right.
And I love the way you called him he.
Yeah. Well, I think he's fine with that.
Yeah, he doesn't care, does he? Because he can turn on being a woman and he can turn off being a woman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I'm Susie 24/7, which is really horrible when you're going out from a theatre late at night to try and get home on your own.
Right.
So you've got a lot of privilege there, Eddie. So thank you very much for not taking my job.
So he's a very privileged woman.
Very.
He doesn't need to worry when he's walking home late at night.
No, he definitely doesn't.
Yeah. I actually saw him a couple of years back. He did a work in progress show and I watched it. He's a very funny guy, very charismatic.
Funny. He's a funny.
Yeah.
They are a funny.
They are a funny woman, or whatever you're supposed to say. Anyway.
They are funny. Yes.
Yeah.
Minefield.
Oh, come on, he's a bloke. Anyway, staying with the world of comedy, SNP politician John Nicholson has asked entertainment giant Netflix to substantiate, it's a difficult word to say, the claims it made to a parliamentary committee about the alleged stalker in hit show Baby Reindeer. Netflix executive Benjamin King told the committee that the show told the true story of comedian Richard Gadd and the harassment he faced at the hands of a convicted stalker. But Nicholson has pushed back in the comments, saying that journalists have so far found no evidence of the conviction referred to. Now, do you think Netflix have possibly come a cropper here? Because this was sold as a true story.
You know, I wrote about this, so this really makes me angry. The guy just wrote a show. It's just a show. It's not a documentary.
Yeah.
And even documentaries, they aren't 100% the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And he wrote a show. It's out there. It stands alone piece. That's it. Right. I mean, it has become interactive because obviously everyone dug out the real Martha, and she chose to then go on other shows and stuff. That's her business.
Oh, she did an interview with Piers Morgan.
She did, yeah, I saw that. And
went as well as about Prince Andrew's interview.
Yeah. I know. I mean, the thing is, of course, but it's like, why are politicians getting involved in this? Just mind your own business. It's got nothing to do with you. It's just a standalone piece. Yes, I think Netflix might be liable for, like, some duty of care, but not Richard Gadd. He wrote a show, he took it from Edinburgh. It's up to the people that were around him, his team, to have changed it.
And the show is much more about sort of his own, foibles rather than pointing the finger at anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix have got themselves in a bit of a pickle, because if you claim this is a true story, and at the same time you say we've taken every step for the identity of the true people not to be revealed. Well, there are a lot of fans who have a lot of time at their hands, and they've actually revealed who the person is. And then you claim she was convicted of stalking, and she says, no, I wasn't convicted. And the funnier thing is that here, now the BBC, a writer of Doctor Who, has said, well, if it was the BBC and its duty of care, you know, because the very famous, rigorously successful standards of the BBC in adopting duty of care towards the contributors and people who walked in the corridors of the BBC. So now the BBC have had a jibe at Netflix as well, which I find a bit
I'm not going to defend the BBC because they've sent me a nasty letter asking me to pay my TV licence, threatening they were.
Oh, you stick to your guns.
Stick to my guns. Yeah. I'll buy one this year until they really threaten me.
Anyway, Israel's national broadcaster has said that their Eurovision entrant Eden Golan faced an unprecedented display of hatred at this year's contest. Golan's participation in the competition attracted controversy, with pro-Palestine protests being staged at each performance. You would have seen them if you tuned into the show last week. It comes as the organisers of Eurovision said that some delegations didn't respect the spirit of the rules. Now, I'm kind of shocked to see this in the world of arts. I know the world of arts is very progressive, very left-wing, but to sort of bully Eden Golan...
Well, there's this one thing about this that's really angered me, and I didn't hear anyone mention it, but I thought it at the time, is her song was about the 1,200 people killed at a music festival.
Well, she said it wasn't. She said it was a...
Well, if it was or it wasn't, there was 1,200 people killed at a music festival in Israel. She's from Israel, singing at a music festival.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks it's OK to bully and boo and jeer a Jewish girl at a music festival, after this, you are scum.
Yeah.
You are scum to me. I don't care what side you're on. The war is horrible. War is horrible. And now, unlike the past, we get to see war in real time, and it's horrible. No one's going to defend war. But how anyone can attack and boo and jeer a young girl on stage at a music festival after 1,200 people were slaughtered at a music festival in Israel, you are scum.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you are.
I'd agree with that. Anyway...
I don't.
You don't agree? You think you should be allowed to boo?
I don't agree with that.
You think you should be allowed to boo?
Side where Palestinians have been, you know, killed smithereens, and it's the violence on them, the genocide, and that's what people are protesting
come on, it's not genocide. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, we can argue about the genocide. It's a genocide, exactly what it is.
With respect, that's not the point I made. I said, regardless of the war, 1,200 young people were killed at a music festival. She is singing at a music festival as a Jewish girl. There's times to just zip and just... It's a music festival.
But is that not shocking, though? Because the same elite who justified and made apologies for what happened in that music festival and the surrounding areas, is it shocking to see they don't have many reservations about harassing a singer at another music festival?
Yeah. But it's strange to see it
It's
from...
not about that. It's actually, you know what it is? They said it's not a country because it's not a political, and it's not because it's the countries that we're putting sanctions on. It's a TV festival. So basically, it's all the TV. So it's Ra.
But they harassed
Car, because they are not a propaganda
but she
station.
was harassed, and the Finnish participant apologized for having danced with her. Even the Russian athletes are allowed to be respected at the Olympic Games without the flag and national anthem.
I didn't see it. I'll be
how
honest.
is she
I didn't
different?
see it. I didn't see the Eurovision Song Contest this year, but because I think it's kind of
too busy booing.
I'm too busy. What? I was too busy booing from my birthday celebrations. That's what's happening. I didn't see it, but
it seems like the Eurovision Song Contest has got nothing to do with war and anything that's happening in Gaza.
You know
I don't think it is political. I think it's the opposite of politics. It's an excuse for people to drink some Lambrini and just enjoy some cheesy pop music.
I love the
leftists have
Eurovision Song
captured every
Contest.
institution.
Sorry?
The leftists have captured every institution, whether it's the Oscars or Cannes or the comedy circuit in London or Eurovision.
And they've turned it all anti-Semitic.
Why is it a lefty thing? I don't understand why it's a lefty thing. Because it's been the lefty on the panel. This
progressivist idea that anything that's at all developed is some sort of colonising force. I mean, the idea that Israel is a colonising force. Jews were there, thousands of years ago, and if anything, it's the countries round about it that have been beholden. Been beholden to a colonising force.
I wanted to answer the question. Do you think it's not about the war? Do you think it's okay for a Jewish girl who's witnessed as a member of that country, like we've witnessed at 7/7 and the Americans witnessed at 9/11? Do you think it's fine for an Israeli girl to be singing at a music festival, and for people at that music festival, when Jewish people were slaughtered at a music festival? Do you think it's okay to boo a young girl? Do you think that's okay? I don't want to talk about the war.
We'll find out after the break. Well, next on the Saturday Night Showdown, it's time for Clown World. And this week, there's a man pepper spraying cows, a woman eating her way around Disney World, and Australia's richest woman throwing a hissy fit over her double chin portrait. Plus, they'll show you what happened when a relaxing evening in the garden took an explosive turn.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
The fact that the King has not found time during the 3 days that his younger son has been in London to see him is a definite right royal flea in the ear for Prince Harry. And a lot of people around the country and around the world will be saying, and about time too. What Harry and his wife have said, either directly or through their amanuensis and fan, Omid Scobie, in his book, Endgame. It's been very, very bitter, very hard, very cruel allegations against not just the King and Queen Camilla, but Prince William and his wife, who, as we know, is being treated for the as yet undisclosed form of cancer. And that has gone home very, very firmly. Nothing could actually be worse in a family to have this division and bitterness and unkindness. And words have power. Actions have consequences. And I think that's what we're seeing played out here. The division between the California couple in their hilltop Camelot and the British royal family getting on with the job is now very, very deep. And the divisions are stark, us see, and between indeed the Spencer family and the Mountbatten Windsors.
Well, Karen Malone earlier was suggesting that people are starting to feel a bit more sorry for Harry and there's a bit more support towards him. Are you sensing anything like that?
Well, I tell you what, Nana, I thought it was great that he got a great cheer yesterday because people suddenly saw the happy Prince that we used to know.
2024, a battleground year.
The year the nation decides.
As the parties gear up their campaigns for the next general election.
Who will be left standing when the British people make one of the biggest decisions of their lives?
Who will rise?
And who will fall?
Let's find out together.
For every moment, the highs, the lows, the twists and turns.
We'll be with you for every step of this journey.
In 2024, GB News is Britain's election channel.
Are the newspapers getting you down?
My wife didn't divorce me that month.
Struggling to separate the wheat from the chaff?
I know that it's a bit of a circus at the best of times.
Well, don't worry. Headliners has got you covered. We'll take the burden of reading the day's news, and if we get depressed, who cares? It's an occupational hazard, frankly. That's Headliners on GB News from 11 p.m. till midnight, and the following morning, 5 till 6 a.m. on GB News, the comedy channel. Nah, just kidding. Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Night Showdown. Now, there's chaos in the US Congress coming up, but first I promised I would show you what happened when this relaxing evening in the garden took a fiery turn. Wow, so that's one of those, I guess, like big paraffin bowl candles. But I didn't know they could go off like that. That could be used as a medieval weapon. That's mental. Anyway, first up in Clown World this week, a row broke out. They all got their boats out. A row broke out in US Congress after Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene accused Democrat Jasmine Crockett of not reading something properly because of her big fake eyelashes. Take a listen to this.
Well, you the one talking about. I
think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order, Mr. Chairman.
That's beneath
would
even
you
your
order get the order of your committee. Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Green's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
part of
I'm trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman, motion to strike those words.
I had no idea what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier, calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss Crockett.
I can't hear you with your yelling.
You don't want me
calm
to
down.
No,
Can you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk noise and then
You're out of control.
Wow, so those are politicians, Susie. I mean, that was more like the panel tonight.
I loved it. I want all politics to be like that.
Exactly. So I think her opinion is because those eyelashes you got on.
These are all mine.
But do you think this sort of cheapens the tone of political discourse a bit, to have women basically commenting on each other's appearance?
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. But
and
I mean, when you say
more to the point, did you enjoy it?
We have never cheapened politics more than we have in this country at the moment. So I mean, globally, politics is looking. So I guess that was just one step nearer. Sorry, ladies, that wasn't classy, but
don't do that. Race more than
maybe that's what I should have done. It's like, oh, so what about your scarf, lady?
Yeah, what about my scarf? My scarf is made.
This is not the first time, because this is Marjorie Taylor, and she's a fiery character. She got in Biden's face during his State of the Union. Say her name, say her name. The young woman the young woman who was killed by an illegal immigrant. It was embarrassing. Right, and actually, it was Lincoln Riley, and she managed to make Biden to pronounce it Lincoln Riley. Anyway. And now she's been harassing Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, because she calls him a sellout. Well, he has to make deals because they have a majority of one, the Republicans. What do you expect him to do? So I'm with her in terms of support for Trump, but she's causing a lot of troubles for the Republicans as well.
And she could act in a slightly classier fashion. Anyway, up next, it's Mark Dolan tonight. What have you got for us this evening, Mark?
Well, Harry and Meghan celebrate their 6-year anniversary this weekend. So was it a marriage made in heaven or hell? That's my verdict. Plus, the BBC in hot water, my top pundits, the Sunday papers, and much more.
Sounds fantastic, Mark, and I hope you're going to be covering what happened with their charity as well. I know they were in a little bit of hot water with all the charities seem to be in hot water right now. Well, I'm looking forward to watching it. Anyway, thanks to my brilliant panel tonight. We've had Sajila Kershi, Susie Kennedy and Nicholas DeSanto. If you're in Canada, you can see Nicholas DeSanto very soon performing there next week. And please join us again next week. And don't forget Headliners as well, tonight at 11 p.m. Until then, good night. And good bless, and enjoy the Fury fight, and see you next week. Goodbye.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Into Sunday, we'll see showers easing, but it's going to be a murky start before plenty of warm sunshine. So higher pressure situated out towards the west, low pressure further towards the east, and in between, not too much going on, a lot of light winds around. So the showers that we've seen today across Wales and parts of the southwest will generally fade, especially across Scotland as well. But elsewhere, plenty of dry weather, clear spells, but we will see low cloud returning for parts of Scotland and the southeast of England. But otherwise, temperatures holding up at around 10 or 11 degrees in the towns and cities. So to start on Sunday, it's going to be a murky start for some of us with low cloud, mist and fog, especially for parts of the southeast of England and East Anglia. Further towards the west, though, plenty of bright skies to start the day, and that transferring across parts of Wales and the north of England. But across Scotland, especially further east you go, a lot of cloud to start the day, with low cloud lingering across those coastal regions. And further towards the north, cloud thick enough for some patchy rain and drizzle. So throughout the rest of Sunday, any low cloud, mist and fog should generally lift and break away to leave plenty of sunshine on offer for most of us. It will stay rather cloudy across parts of Scotland, and here we could see a few showers, and especially across that northeastern coast, once again feeling cool here with low cloud. But in the sunshine, temperatures recovering nicely up to 24, possibly 25 degrees. Monday's a similar picture to start with. We'll see plenty of low cloud, mist and fog around, but once again that should break away, leaving plenty of sunshine, a dry day on offer for most of us. We'll see some showers developing, but as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, turning more unsettled with showers or perhaps even some longer spells of rain.
A brighter outlook with Box Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's the biggest cash prize we've given away to date. An incredible £20,000 that you could use however you like. And because it's totally tax-free, every single penny will be in your bank account to do whatever you like with. £20,000 in tax-free cash really could be yours this summer. Hurry, you've got to be in it to win it. For another chance to win £20,000 in tax-free cash, text PRIZE to 63232. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or post your name and number to GB05, PO Box 8690, Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 31st of May. Full terms and privacy notice at gbnews.com/win. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I'm Christopher Hope.
And I'm Gloria Di Piero, bringing you
PMQs live here on GB News.
Whenever Parliament is in session on a Wednesday at midday, we'll bring you live coverage of Prime Minister's questions. We'll be asking our viewers and listeners to submit the questions that they would like to put to the Prime Minister, and we'll put that to our panel of top politicians in our Westminster studio.
That's PMQs live here on GB News, Britain's election channel.
I'm Patrick Christie's. Every weeknight from 9, I bring you 2 hours of unmissable, explosive debate and headline-grabbing interviews. What impact has that had?
We got death threats and the bomb threat and so on.
Our job is to do what's in the best interest of our country.
You made my argument for me. My guests and I tackle the issues that really matter, with a sharp take on every story.
I'm hearing it up and down the country. That was a beginning, not an end.
Patrick Christie's tonight from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, every Sunday at 9:30 when I'll be interviewing the key players in British politics and taking them to task.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial.
With an upcoming election looming over Westminster, now is the time for clear, honest answers.
I agree.
And that's precisely what I'll get.
Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's election channel.
GB News is Britain's election channel.
And when the big stories break, we're tackling them on Britain's newsroom. When we disagree, and we disagree a lot, it's even livelier than normal.
We don't disagree that much.
We do. His comedy, though, is revolting. I knew her, unlike you. That explains Beverly Turner's temperament.
It's a bit frothy in here, isn't it?
He'll have one of me one day.
For dartball practice. Britain's newsroom on GB News. Weekdays, 9:30 a.m.
GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 9 o'clock on television, on radio and online in the United Kingdom and across the world. This is Mark Dolan Tonight. In my big opinion, if Donald Trump wins the US elections, will the special relationship be safe in the hands of a Labour government? I have my doubts. Find out why in just a moment. My Mark Meets guest is the author of a shocking book about the rise of Adolf Hitler. How did this monster capture a nation and threaten the world? Could something like this ever happen again? And in the big story, after another bruising week for the BBC and as almighty row breaks out over the corporation's plan to put adverts on their podcasts, is it time to scrap the licence fee altogether? And in my take at 10, Harry and Meghan celebrate their 6th wedding anniversary this weekend. So, was it a marriage made in heaven or a marriage made in hell? I'll be giving my verdict. Yeah, that's a pretty lively take at 10. An hour away, you won't want to miss it. So 2 hours of big opinion, big debate and big entertainment. Mark Dolan Tonight is your perfect Saturday night in. Let's have some fun and a bit of a ding-dong along the way. First, the news headlines and Sophia Wensler.
Mark, thank you. From the GB Newsroom at 9 o'clock, your top story this hour. The Israeli military says it's recovered another body today after the bodies of 3 Israeli hostages were recovered from Gaza on Friday. It comes as a member of Israel's 3-man war cabinet, Benny Gantz, has threatened to resign from the government if it does not adopt a new plan for the war in Gaza. Israel says it believes 100 hostages are still alive there. Families of hostages have been holding a news conference in Tel Aviv, calling for their return.
The war must be stopped at once, and the hostages must be rescued. War cabinet members, stop the expansion of the Rafah operation and secure a hostage release deal now.
Our family members are being raped in captivity. They are being starved and tortured. Why do you allow Netanyahu to continue sabotaging the hostage release deal negotiations? Why do you remain silent in the face of his actions? Why do you not come out and tell the public, as Gallant has done, how Netanyahu tirelessly takes action to sabotage the hostage release deal?
In other news, thousands of people can now safely drink their tap water again following a parasite outbreak. South West Water has today reduced the boil water notice in the Brixham area following all clear test results. The number of confirmed cases of cryptosporidium in the Brixham area are 46. But the water company has confirmed it is now safe for around 14,500 households in the Alston supply area to use their tap water